Expect sunshine, highs in the upper 80s, and for the afternoon hours in the Coachella Valley, sunshine in abundance, high expected at 102 degrees. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, where we are making sure that we got the latest in stuff that you're going to want to find out about, whether it be news, whether it be stuff that you need to just know ahead of time, and or just things that are kind of weird in the world. I know Jesse kind of had a weird weekend. He was supposed to go with me to the Produce By conference, and I attended alone. But Jesse, you had a story which you messaged me, and I was like, "What? Are you kidding me? Something about a inferno?"
Yeah, okay. So my I guess my future mother-in-law, so her place, like the next house over,
Uh huh.
like apparently the garage caught on fire, which led to the house catching on fire. And so all of them, like the neighbors and stuff, had their hoses out trying to protect, because apparently they heard like popping and explosions. So they weren't really sure where that was coming from.
Right.
Like I personally, like when I went, I thought it was like fireworks that set it off because that's what it smelled like.
Right.
But yeah, no, when I got there, there was the flames were still kicking. It was still very like it was still very active, even though the firefighters were there. It took around 10 minutes for once I started seeing like just plumes of white smoke. I felt okay enough to leave, but I was just standing there just in case they needed to escort the animals out,
Right.
and if anybody else needed help, just in case, because they have a couple elderly neighbors over there. So if I can help, I'll help, even though I'll be grumpy. I don't want to see anyone catch on fire, especially the animals.
Well,
So
when you
I
say
was
grumpy, I mean What do you mean? Because Jesse, for those tuning in, he's not a grumpy man. So like, because
yeah,
normally, I mean, I've never seen him grumpy. Just so you know. So if he's next door trying to help you out, what do you mean grumpy, Jesse? You mean like tired and exhausted over the week's stuff?
like well, I'm up at 5 a.m. every morning. So once like 9:30, 10 o'clock hit, I was dead. So my mind doesn't work properly. So I'm just like, oh my God. Like I literally just wanted to run in there with like fire hoses, like, just make it stop.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense in some way. All right.
But no, it was just I just wanted to make sure the animals were there, and Casey was freaking out because she wanted to make sure her mom's okay. So it was very tiring. And by the time I went to sleep and everything, my mind was able to calm down. It was like midnight, and by the time I woke up, it was noon. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, I know because they had a lot of restrictions getting into the Produce by conference. Again, it was at the Fox Studios lot. And I will say, if you follow me on social media, and if you don't, please do so. Aaron M. Sanchez. It's very simple. Just follow me there on Facebook and or LinkedIn. And what they did actually was very interesting. They actually live streamed the conferences in the main auditorium. And I thought it was really good that they did that because I keep telling people to do that, even though they charge like money for people to see it in person. Which, not gonna lie, it wasn't inexpensive. It was like anywhere from $300 as a student up to about $1,000 for like a producer or somebody else. Again, it's the Producers Guild of America that put this on. So some of you saw my postings as of this weekend because I posted a couple stuff, and then I reposted on my Facebook page one of the conferences, but with Eva Longoria, which was a really good discussion. And I'm glad she kind of hit it the way she did because she answered something that I think a lot of people put her kind of under for, and it's this whole representation thing, which I say is dumb, but I get it. And what I mean by that is this. Everybody says, well, if you're Latino, then you should be hiring Latino. So she talked about that, and I've seen other people on social media go, yeah, she didn't hire all Latino. I'm like, dude, like a good portion of the movie was Latino. I don't understand. So sometimes people don't understand in other cultures that even like Latino pull other Latino down in a way instead of like amplifying good. They kind of like are bitter and they kind of are like, how do I say, they're negative. Like anything you do is bad. You know what I mean? But she talked about the business of it all. And when you think of Eva Longoria, you think of her as an actress. You don't really think of her as a producer. You don't think of her as a writer. You don't even think of her as a director. But she was talking about it as a very, like, savvy businesswoman who still is struggling to make films made, right? Now, I will say this. She married a very rich man. But she still has a problem producing stuff because of certain, like... I guess I'll just say certain, I don't know how to say it, but there's a certain, okay, when Trump came out, everybody knew, like, Latino was bad, right?
Is it? I don't know.
Jesse's like, I'm one of those. I just don't identify. Again, the Sanchez name, it kind of is telling, right? So my point is this. A lot of people were kind of skewed away from like anyone that had like a Latin name, right? And I know I saw it prior, leading up to, and then during, right? I saw it and it was bad. But my point is this: there's always been kind of this thing. But I will say this: like, I'll give you an example. Avengers, and or the latest movie with Doctor Strange has some characters that happen to be Latin, right? And they call it multicultural. But I'm what's going on there, Jesse?
No, you're right. You're right. Other Latin people pull other Latin people down. It's true. The moment, what was her name? Xochitl Gomez, I think her name was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, people were bringing because she wasn't dark enough or whatever, or her hair wasn't curly enough. I'm like, what? I'm like, come on. You're like tearing apart this 15-year-old girl, and it's just like, wow, that's really uncalled for.
Yeah, exactly what you just said. So my point is this. Whether you're Latin or not, there's this whole thing and this whole like, and they talked a lot about it, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like, whatever. Because at the end of the day, if you have like a Avengers movie or if you have like a Doctor Strange movie, everybody is of a different like ethnicity, right? It doesn't matter. They're not all what people used to say, you know, Anglo, right? Or you know, even though I say peach color, but, you know, people say they're white, you know. Well, technically that's albino. Even albino's got more, you know, color than not. So my point is this. When I guess the discussion was good, but it's better to have a discussion of let's think the world and then put that in a movie. Does that happen always? I say now it does. It does more than it used to. Back in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, no. The Latin or, you know, even African American had to play a certain role based on the movies that were out. Does that make sense? Just like, you know, certain movies that are African American. You know, we have a lot of representation there, right? It's like, it's common, right? And, you know, you got Black Panther. That was a big thing when that came out because everybody was like, whoa, we didn't see like a superhero this cool and this amazing with a whole nation that's super advanced, you know, which I'm like, well, that's Marvel for you, right? Which includes all of them, right? The latest movie of Spider-Man, right? They kind of teased to it, but if you've seen, what was it, the Spider-Verse, then you've kind of understood, you know, well, why is the kid now African American? Oh, because there's a different Spider every single universe, right? It's called multiverse, right, Jesse? And you know about that.
Oh yeah, you know what? People are like, well, when are they gonna make a like Hispanic or Latino Spider-Man? Which honestly, they already
They
have.
did.
And yes, it's Spider-Man 2099, and you know what? Hopefully, he'll come to the big screen. That'd be awesome if he does, though.
I saw a poster which was kind of cool, like Batman Beyond and Spider-Man, you know, Beyond. Like, you know, wouldn't that be a cool mashup? But I guess my point is this. The discussion was good, but you got to see all of what she does behind the scenes. And then she talked about back in the day when she was an extra. And I know a couple stories which she hasn't let out, but I know of a publicist that said she regretted not working with her when she had no money, because she could have worked with her a little. And then had she worked with her a lot, guess who she would have taken when she got really big? The Desperate Housewives part. she would take in her publicist. But her publicist is like, not, she does other things, but she always regretted that. And she told me she regretted it. She wanted to work with me back in, like, I don't know, I want to say 5 years ago, but it didn't work out. But my point is this: sometimes you help people out along the way, and sometimes when they get big all of a sudden, you go, where did I go wrong? And I guarantee whenever she sees her, that's one of those thoughts. But it was really good. If you want like how do I say this? If you want to be in film or producing or even business, check it out. If you're a woman that struggles, check it out. Ava Longoria did a really powerful discussion with her business partner, who happens to be African American, and then a lady who moderated it, and she understands because she's Asian. So it was a very interesting discussion about basically movies and film, and then the business of it and what it takes to make a film, which is good for producers, especially new producers, to go, okay, I get it. But I say this: just have a multicultural world type show. Make sure to include different ethnicities with different backgrounds, and that'll make for a better, more interesting film. Even if you don't discuss it, right? It doesn't have to be a set in Mexico situation, or a Mexican in the U.S. trying to make it. I mean, there are stories like that which are really good, but it doesn't have to be that. If you have a space movie, like think Star Trek. Star Trek has them from all over, from different planets and different universes. And, Picard does that really well, right? They got, like, you don't even really think, oh, this person's white, that person's white, this person's, you just say, oh, they're alien, right? Or from a different timeline, which is really good. Go see Picard on Paramount. But having said that, there was another good interview, which I'm going to post a little bit later. So make sure to follow me, Aaron M. Sanchez, on all social media platforms, and especially LinkedIn, because they streamed a really good discussion. If you haven't seen the Lego movie, A, you might want to see it. And B, they had a very interesting discussion with two people, which just kind of brought it home. Now, I stayed. I didn't know why I was going to stay. And I'm like, all right, I'll stay for the next one. And I was going to leave, but I was like, all right, let me stay. And I'm glad I did. Two guys, one by the name of Dan Lin and the other named Chris Miller, actually produced the Lego movie. But they talked about the beginning of it and how bad it was the moment they made it. But they made it like they do in animations. Have you ever seen behind the scenes? Jesse, I know you've seen behind the scenes where they show kind of just like the rough drawings, and then they have like the words, but it's not all fleshed out, but it's just kind of like to show, like to say, okay, this is how much energy we're going to put in this, and we're going to have the animators do this, and they're going to do that, this, and that. Well, they say basically it was so bad, they were like, oh God, we need to rewrite it. And I thought that was interesting because it kind of, you see the finished product. They say they see the finish, but they don't know how much work goes into it. And we talk about that with people here on the show a lot. And I say, it's like a business. Sometimes people go, well, I'm not going to do film, but you're going to do a business. If you do business is just like that. There's a lot of failures along the way. Nobody sees it until they see the success, right? You have the McDonald's of the world, the Taco Bells of the world, the Carl's Jr.'s of the world, but you don't know the lead up to it, right? So just if you get a chance, watch it or listen to it, play it. And I'm glad they did it. I've told several businesses to do this. When you charge for tickets, make sure to live stream it anyway, because you get the word out, and then people are going to want to go in person the next time, because they're going to want to have conversations with other smart people. And the Producers Guild of America is a really good organization that puts a lot of other producers together, and that's where money's talked about. That's where films are talked about. That's where casting sometimes comes about. There are some actors there as well, which also do producing. And that's my point back to the Ava thing. Ava produces, but she also acts. So it's like, okay, if you have a film for her, she'll act in it, but maybe she'll help you produce it if she really is behind it. So she talked about the world of, like, because she says sometimes she gets, from big money and big studios, like, well, we don't know any good women directors. She's like, I have a list right here. They're all qualified. But she also says, to the other side of things, if you're a director and you're a woman, and you're like, well, nobody gives me a shot. Well, you got to do something, because you got to have some experience. If you have no experience, like on a budget of, like, I don't know, anywhere from $300,000 to like $1 million plus, that's going to be a hard sell for a big studio to say, okay, I think you're good now. M. Night Shyamalan, whether you like him or hate him, did a lot of little shorts in order to prove that he could do a big budget, right? But even when he got his big budget film, it's still difficult because you got a lot of pressure that you didn't have before, called restraints, called time, budget, and what's the other word I want to say? The studios having to say, no, we don't like that, we don't like that, we're like, and we definitely don't like that. If you do your own thing, that's good, but be ready to make it big. In order to make it really big, you think like, who did Star Trek recently and did Star Wars at the same time? Oh God, what's his name? I can't remember it. Anyway, he did a really good job on Star Trek, and then the latest one, and then he went on to do Star Wars. But if you see his style, you're like, I get it. And he made it work for the franchise. But all of those have a starting. And so I say to the people that, are starting a business or starting in film or starting a story, you got to start and you got to keep going, okay? I talked to several other people and I'm like, okay, you got documentaries, but you're not doing anything with your documentaries. And then one woman got mad at me, but I'm like, why do you have 12 projects, but you haven't gotten anything done? And then she's like, well, I'm waiting for an editor. I'm like, well, I got editors, and then I felt that little feeling that you sometimes get. She wanted to get a person for free. She said, well, I want somebody that's going to do it for equity, meaning, and others that understand that word or don't understand that word, if you've been in the business long enough, basically you work for free and then you make some money if it sells and if it gets picked up. You know how many documentaries get picked up, Jesse?
I actually do not.
Almost. Let's put this out. I go to so many film festivals and I see so many films that don't get ever picked up. They get streamed sometimes. Sometimes they're even on YouTube, but nobody watches them because nobody knows how to market them. They wait for a big studio to pick them up. But usually I would say a rough estimate of all the documentaries ever made, a good 30 to 40% get picked up, which isn't bad. But if you got 12 stories and you've shot all of them, and you know how to edit, shouldn't you edit it and then like show an investor, hey, this is this and this and that, and then get an editor to help you out, but get some money to pay them? Because if you're asking for free all the way, you're gonna get problems along the way. All right, so because I have like 3 editors I could refer right now, but they're all want to get paid, So my point is this: if you're a student, which I told her, I said, well, then you want a student. She goes, no, I don't want a student. I'm like, yeah, you do, because you want free. You need somebody that wants to build their portfolio, but you're probably still going to need to edit it again because, we interviewed a very good editor here on the show, and she edits her own stuff, but she's been paid to edit it because editing is a very long process. It's night and day, night and day, night and day, and I know because I've been asked to edit things, and I'm like, I just don't have time. Unless you have, money, I just don't have the time to edit your stuff because I got to edit our stuff, I got to edit other people's stuff, if they help me out financially, but I just don't have the time. It's time consuming. So I guess my point is this. The business of it, produced by Conference, although the conference is over, you can still watch the live stream on LinkedIn. So check it out. It's the Produced by Conference. Go like them on LinkedIn and or Facebook. They really didn't post it on Facebook, but their live stream went to LinkedIn. And if you're a company and or a business and you want to live stream your event, guess what? We do that here at the station. So you just message me, let me know, and we can actually live stream your program. Of course, it costs money to pay people to shoot your program and other stuff, but we can help you figure it out. So anyway, my story is this. If you got a message, get it out there and do it the right way, and go follow Produced by Conference and make sure you don't have a fire that prevents you from attending again, right, Jesse? Because Jesse wanted to go, but he couldn't go.
I really wanted to go too. Like, I had my jacket already. Like, even my mom called me. She's like, what happened? I have your jacket all ready to go. I'm like, I woke up late. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. Well, there's more things around the corner. In fact, come July, there's a couple things I want to go to, and I want to do the business side of it because I got my book, Butterfly Story, which shout out to Stephanie, which has a show on Sundays at 8:30. The IE with Stephanie. And Jesse, you know Stephanie from way back, and you've seen her host a show, and you've seen her do a lot of stuff. She's doing her own show. I'm glad she is. And we may have her on this show just to promote some things that are happening in our own neck of the woods. So stay tuned for that. But big shout out to Stephanie, who is always doing some great stuff. She had me on her show this Sunday. I posted it. She posted on Instagram. I like the way she posted. I got to figure out how she did that. And then anyone and everyone, just go ahead and like that Facebook, share it, and then we'll see you on other stuff as well. But again, happening in July, Jesse, is the comic convention, so stay tuned for that. We'll get passes for that. Yeah, and the Anime Expo, all in the same weekend, I think. So I want to get writers and illustrators, and although I have a couple illustrators I'm looking at right now for my books, but that's where you get stuff done as a business person. So other people go for fun, but I go with the intent of like getting your story made into something really cool, because there's artists that need money, and now's a good time to look at it, because a lot of people are dried up financially, and a lot of news is coming out about that. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll regroup right after these messages. Stay tuned with more right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
The staff and families at Custom Care Solutions caregivers take this time out to recognize and salute the Palm Desert men and women in uniform, standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support have kept America strong. That message was courtesy of your good friends at Custom Care Solutions caregivers, 42201 Beacon Hill in Palm Desert. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff in spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at hiebanning.com.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the number one choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers, with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
Are you paying rent because you think you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you renting because you don't believe that you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? The Siegel lending team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel lending team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com, license under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Make sure to follow us on KMET 1490 AM. It's simple. It's free. Just like us on Facebook, type it in, and or on Twitter. KMET Radio is right there. Jesse, you got some interesting information over there. What's going on?
Oh, no. I was thinking about what you were saying about like shorts and stuff for movies.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of the shorts that are produced are better than those 2-hour films that get released in theater.
Yeah, you're actually right.
And it's really sad that some of these films like aren't like mainstream and just like they're bigger, because like I saw a short yesterday. Oh my God, it was actually really horrifying. And it was 12 minutes or 13 minutes long, and it was actually a really good little short horror film. It wasn't like bloody or anything. It was just really creepy, a lot of intense moments. I was actually quite surprised, but you know what? I really wish there was more, like maybe if there was like a channel for like these little independent shorts or something like that. That would be amazing.
There actually is, and it's funny that you say that. There's a documentary channel that just does exactly that. And I know because I was helping out a director get the word out on Facebook, and I was actually doing it for free at the time. And I'm like, why did I do that? But my point is, he didn't get paid much. He only got paid $5,000, and that's not a lot when you put all the time and energy into something. And they have a limited run on it. Now, I will say on the flip side of that, okay, and I don't know if this guy wants it out there, but I'm going to say anyway. One guy that I ran into at the Produced By conference sold his documentary for $2 million to what network, Jesse?
I have no idea. Hulu.
HBO.
Netflix. Ooh, even better.
Yeah, HBO Max. They took his documentary, and he made all his money back and then some, right? So I said, well, then take that and run with it. Make sure that they take more of your stuff. Don't sit on it while it's hot. Get more done, because he has several other films that he's kind of sitting on as well. I said, just have a discussion with them and say, hey, by the way, and then because they have a winner on their hands. It's a really good one, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. I'll go ahead and promote it. Why not? Although I don't know if he wanted that information out about how much he sold it for. I'll hold on to it, because sometimes you never know. But my point is this: if you do it, because I know some documentarians that are like, 2.6 million, I could be like sitting in a mansion by now. And I say this, like he said, he invested in his company, in his business, and in his people that he invests time in. So his editors and other people, he kind of like put it in. But he was at the Produced By conference, and you find people like that, which is why I say it's a good thing to be a part of. But I was like, wow, you made a lot of money, because I know a lot of documentarians that just don't on some of their stuff. But I will say this. Some people actually listen, and I'm glad they listen, because on Friday, after our show, I didn't have time to have them on the show, but we had this, and it's actually, it's up on Facebook. You can go check it out. And I'm just going to bring it up because they had a premiere here locally, but they were from out of town. And I posted some of the trailer on with the interview. And I can't say it broadcast-wise, so don't repeat it, Jesse, but I'll let you see the actual thing here. It's Happy Effin' Sunshine, okay? And it's actually a fun film about rockers that happen to be, like, teen, that happen to have, like, rockin' stuff. But, the F-bomb is pretty much time it does it. So if they get picked up because they're an indie, it looks good, by the way. I've seen a lot of films that look too indie, and they look kind of like shot on like really basic, but this one just looks fun. Some kind of put like a little spin of based on somebody's hair on it, kind of like that movie. What was that called? That was a sleeper too. Napoleon Dynamite, right? It has nothing to do with Napoleon Dynamite, but there's a scene that kind of reminds you of a guy that would kind of, like mix it with the Napoleon Dynamite guy. But it's a fun film. They had a premiere on Friday night. I didn't get to go. I wanted to. They invited me. It was very nice. But I told them, hey, why don't you come out to the Produced By conference and, start networking. Since you're out of town and you're not here normally, it's the best time to go. So I saw them. They said, hey, Aaron. I was like by myself, and I said, whoa, you guys are here. So I told them to get like distributed by Warner Brothers. So we're going to talk about that. And then I was kind of like poking my head because they're like, well, what else should we do? I said, you know what, now I think about it, I know somebody that can get you onto the storefront of Target and or Walmart as a DVD copy, which would get money back into your pocket right away if you can't get Warner Brothers, right? So go big, and then if you can't go big, I got the person for you to get you into the store, right? And then get you picked up, because it's a really good, I mean, that... Even that like photo, if you put that on the front of a cover of a DVD, it makes you go, what's that about, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at. I had to figure out how to spell it because I spelled it like you're supposed to say it. It was totally wrong.
Yeah, don't say it, because we'll get. And I told them that. I said, be careful how you say it. But that interview's on YouTube. But if you see that cover and you're a kid, you're like, okay, what's that about, right? So you would hope to see the trailer to want to go get it, or at least have it streamed somehow on a network, right? Maybe Netflix. I don't know if Netflix will do that, because it's like F-bomb all the way through. But again, it's a good movie about kids that actually, I think for a lot of them it's their debut, but they're very good, and they're not here in LA. So I'm like, hey, release it. They shot it in 2019 before COVID, and then COVID kind of like slowed everything down. They had a little release because they got featured in a film festival recently, this last weekend. But again, they were like, well, we wish we had more people to see it. And I said, yeah, I know. But again, they're doing the business side of it. It's called meeting other people that make stuff happen, right? But back to documentaries. So I saw a documentary recently, and I recommended this because some documentaries are very smart, right? And this one, which happens to be called The Great Hack, is actually on Netflix. And I say see it now while you can, because we're going back into political season. If you haven't seen the news headlines, it's all politics now, right, Jesse? It's like, oh god, we gotta talk about that again. So it's all politics. So it's all skewed truths. It's all half truths. It's some truths. It's what side of the table are you on? Who are you gonna vote for eventually? You know, come next election, which will be for the seat of I think 2024. I think it is. But we're in 2022, so they gotta get wrapped up, and so everybody's now gonna say everything about, you know, Biden. Everybody's going to say something about Trump. Everything's going to be like, you know, even McConaughey may run. You know what I mean? I saw him at the thing. But go check this one out. The Great Hack. Okay, it's a really good film, but it's about Cambridge Analytica. I'm sorry, not Cambridge. Wait, what's it called? Maybe it is Cambridge Analytica. I want to get it right because I think I misspelled it. The Great Hack. Explore how a data company named Cambridge Analytica came to symbolize the dark side of social media in the wake of the 2016 U.S. presidential, hold on, I'm trying to get the whole thing here, election is what I think it wants to say. As uncovered by journalist Carol Cadwaladar. But my point in saying you watching this is important because it gets your head in the right space of things, because they have what they call data sets or presets on every single person, based on what you click on, based on what you like, based on what you comment on, and keywords, right? Jesse, you and I were talking about this last week, how it seems like anything you talk about during the day all of a sudden comes up the very next day, and you're like, how did that come up? I wasn't even searching for stuff, right?
Right. Like, is my phone listening to me? Is it going to give me tips on stocks? Hint, hint, wink, wink. But but I remember a guy who had like 3 different phones with him, okay? One was always on, one was turned off, and then one had like the battery removed. And so what he wanted to do was to find out like how much information these phones are transmitting, even when they're like off or you're not using it or whatever. And it tracks every move you make, up, down, left, right. It does not matter. It will find you.
Which is good when it gets stolen, I will say, but I don't know how to access that, because like I had a phone stolen. I'm like, wait, I didn't have my feature turned on to find my phone. But I will say this. I had a discussion yesterday, very smart discussion too, because the discussion kind of went how Google and Amazon and Facebook, the Meta, and all of the other programs kind of run together, and they feed each other information about each and every person. So there's a snapshot on every person. But this documentary goes into, which is feature length. It's like a 2-hour film. But it's really good because it's all about things that really happen. So it's not conspiracy. It's about all the things, including what you just mentioned. He asked like a classroom of people looking at the implications of social, but how it can be turned and skewed for bad. So imagine this, and I hate the P word because people don't understand it, but I say it like this. Let's say I wanted people that love dogs, but I don't want people that love cats. Can I market to people that only love dogs and that are skewed to love dogs no matter what?
I'm assuming they already do that.
The answer is yes. Yeah. If I had a dog movie, I would market it to dog lovers, not to cat lovers. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Now, there are people that love both, but they usually skew one over the other, right? Unless they have both pets at home. So the question is, how do you find that? Well, you find people that like shop at PetSmart, Petco, that go and look for other like brands like Pedigree and or Friskies, right? And then you build a profile on that, and then you go, okay, well now I have something to market to cat lovers. Well, that's politics, okay? So you have Democratic, then you have Republican. not saying one is the other, I'm not going to throw that out there, but you could skew to just the lovers of one party, and so all bad news about the other party, you market only to that person. Now, the other party doesn't see all that news because they see only news for their party. And that's where Cambridge Analytica went a little too, well, it depends on how you view it, because they actually started way back with the Obama administration. Now, Obama hit social media really quick and fast, which was the smartest thing since sliced bread. And I always said, if you want to get your money's worth on ads, you do it online. TV is expensive, and so is other mediums. But online is right there in front of them. So where is the voter at? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on, any other one that comes to your mind? I would say TikTok is the next big one, right? But they could skew based on what you like to click on, what you heart, Jesse, and then you'll see more of that. TikTok is a perfect example of that, right?
Right. You click on one video that you like, and then your whole feed is just that. So yeah, just be careful what you like.
Yes, exactly. Be careful what you like. But if you start clicking habitually certain things, guess what? Now they know the user Jesse, right? And so they'll make it available because there's always funds. When people go, how much does it cost to run a campaign? I'll give you an example. In the last few campaigns, they raise about $1 million each. Hillary raised, I think, 1.3. No, I'm sorry. I used the M word. Billion. 1.3 billion in dollars, but a good portion of that goes to campaigning. But campaigning is also marketing. And if you market online, you could find your person and hold on to them. So if you want a Hillary supporter, because you're running like her, then you would find that usually. Now they put certain restrictions on Facebook and the Metaverse. So that's why now they ask if you run an ad, is this political? Is this, what is this? Because they got in trouble big time. That's where they had to get in front of, that's where Zuckerberg had to come in front of when his eyes look like, I don't know what to say, right? Because they're like, did you skew the truth politically? And the answer is, well, he didn't, but the company that uses their data sets, known as Cambridge Analytica, did. And that stuff is very public. That's why now you have to sign off on certain things. Certain websites say, are you okay, having cookies on your, us tracking you? Because everybody tracks everybody now. It's known as pixel tracking or other type of tracking. So my point is this, not to make anybody go, oh God, what do I do next? Because it's a thing. Now, companies can profit from that. Brands already profit from it. That's why if you click on a McDonald's ad, you're probably going to see Carl's next, because Carl's is always on the backs of whoever likes McDonald's, right? They're on their competition, right? But if you like Carl's, you probably won't see McDonald's, because McDonald's is like, dude, we're McDonald's. We don't need to track our competition, right? Well, that's a good thing when it comes to brands more than not, because it doesn't affect anything big, but politics affects everything big. So you could skew a whole country against something, which is why now we're talking about capital situation and how, the videos coming out. I know on Twitter at KMET, we tweeted out an article. We got a lot of feedback. Go check that out. We posted it at the very top. And we got people left, right, and center saying, about the video that was released about, the Capitol, what they call the riot or the uprising, or they're kind of calling it a coup, or, there's a lot of information coming out about that. But again, will Trump run again? I say yes, because he still has supporters like that. And is he going to prison for it? No. Is he going to be fined for it? Who knows? He's been fined so many times. I don't know how many fines he's actually skirted, you know what I mean? Or put off, because that guy just kind of all right, see you in court, because he has more money for the lawyers. And I will say this, if you're a lawyer for Trump, you're in business for the next few years, right? I don't know at what point he's going to run out of money, but my point is this. Will he run again? Most likely the answer is yes, because he gets traction. He gets his word out, and he gets stuff. It's almost like people want to be entertained. That's a sad thing. That's where Biden's kind of suffering right now. If he wanted to be a little fun with it, he'd do some more social media, is my point. And just for fun, right? That's what Obama did really well. So he got to the hearts of the kids, right? And to the teens and to the youth of the generation. But again, if you know it started with Obama, you go, well, nothing really bad happened with Obama. Some say yes, but others say no. But then with the Trump administration, did it go south at the end? The answer is, well, that depends on if you're all right storming the castle of the Capitol, right? That should not be allowed because you have the Senate there to protect the U.S. people. Because if you have one person like a authoritarian, right, which some would say that's kind of the way it was skewed a little. If you had him run Korea, for example, would Korea be a problem? I would say yes. There were generals going, I don't trust him. He could push the button at any time. He's mad. He's always upset and he's angry. If he doesn't get his way, all of a sudden, that's why everybody couldn't have their job for long, right? Nobody was like, all the people that spoke for him were like out of a job. And now they're speaking out against him. But they're like, okay, we get it. It's almost like they kind of got into the zone of, no, he's the almighty. But no, in the U.S., we have certain things that protect that one person from becoming a megalomaniac, right? Called the Senate, which keeps everybody kind of balanced. So it's like, okay, he said, she said, what do we vote on? What do we approve? He can only do so much. Yes, he can veto, but we have to basically all agree. And we have certain protections for ourselves to make sure this person doesn't become a authoritarian, right? Or a one guy says it all, kind of like Putin over in Russia, which kind of did like a supposed democratic thing. But even the Russians were saying, we didn't vote for him. Like, you know, how did he, you know, so how does one person run again and again and again? I say, look, have them run for like a good time and then have them prove it all the way through and then don't get skewed the truth. That's where Cambridge Analytica got in trouble, which is why they're disbanded. But are they kind of in a way just making a different thing happen? So if you watch that movie, it's very interesting. The Great Hack, it's on Netflix. I highly recommend it. You'll get smart for having watched it, and you'll understand something about stuff. It's not a conspiracy. It's all factual, but they know everything about you already. Back to something Jesse said, Google already tracks where you go when you have Google Maps on. And if you have your Gmail account, guess what? It knows that as well. You can check your tracking. If you were cheating and your woman knew you were cheating, she could go in your account, she could look at your history of where you traveled to, and then she could know where you went and where you said you went, just so you know. I know people talked about the Apple AirTag, but you could technically do that through Google, which is why I always say don't cheat on your lady.
Yeah, don't cheat. If you're gonna cheat, just break up with your partner, because you don't want to get ran over. I think you did a story or talked about, like, no, maybe it was some woman from Florida. She followed her husband to Vegas, ran him over. Yeah, it was a big deal. So, oh no, you know what? I remember Casey one time. She kept going with something about a man that cheated on a woman, and she ended up cutting his thing off. So either way, don't do it. It's not a good thing.
Was she laughing while she said it?
Yes, she did.
Be careful, man. Crazy. That's all I got to say to Jesse. That's called warning. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. By the way, NASA and UFOs. What's that about? Talk about official. Whoa. We'll talk about that next here on The Morning Show.
Summer's almost here, and you know what that means. Sunny days and hot temperatures that make you want to stay inside. Franklin Mechanical Systems can repair or replace your air conditioning unit to get it working before the heat hits. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems is the one for all your residential and commercial air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000 and get cool today.
Hey, Mark's here. We want people should know about the new Italian radio show on KMET. Like my Uncle Vinny used to say, Gumbas non stunad.
SID, there is no such words in Italian.
Forget about it. Tell them about the show.
The Italian radio show presented by West Coast Italian Radio.
Mondays at 4 p.m. on KMET 1490 or stream us live 24/7 from our website at WCIR.biz.
Make sure to tune in.
You don't want that we should have to tell you twice.
Your health truly is the greatest gift. At U-Theory, quality of life is at the heart of every product we make. From farm to shelf, we travel the world to source the purest, most efficacious, and clinically studied ingredients to create science-backed supplements that support beauty, emotional, digestive, and physical well-being. All U-Theory products are manufactured at our Southern California facility, ensuring the highest quality standards every step of the way. As a family-owned company, we celebrate the power of human potential with a mission to inspire wellness in all. Try U-Theory Immune Plus Daily Wellness. 100% daily values of vitamin C, D3, and zinc. Go beyond the you of today and catch the you of tomorrow. U-Theory.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, and we're looking at some information over here. I will say this. We talked about this a few weeks back, and I said, look, when it becomes very official with certain people having discussions at Capitol Hill and or otherwise, you know things are happening, right? And we didn't really get to discuss it all. We had Jose Ulloa who kind of covered it a little, and then there was some information about it, then it kind of went away. Now it's coming full circle. And the information, if you missed it, was here in LA and in Southern California, there were a lot of sightings of unidentified phenomenon, right? Also known as aircraft that they just didn't understand. Now, I will say this, and I said this on the show, I've seen a few of those, but I was like, all right. And that was it. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be deemed odd, right? Or weird, or are you kidding me? Like, you believe in that stuff? So I didn't say anything until it came out official, and now lawmakers and Pentagon are saying, okay, we realize this is a thing, we need to be concerned. What information do you guys have? So I say this: if you have captured something on your phone and you've held on to it, I would put it up on YouTube because you never know who's going to use it, right, Jesse?
Right, you never know who's going to see it on YouTube, and you know what? It might be a viral hit. You never know.
You never know. I would put also, like, contact me for licensing, because if like a news outlet uses it, like a big one, you could technically say, hey, can you pay me a little licensing fee? Like Getty or any one of those. Sometimes you could do that with the big ones, not with us because we're very small and we're radio, so we don't do that sort of thing. But here's the reality. NASA is in the news, Jesse. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see it?
No. What did they do now?
Well, they're getting serious about UFOs. The U.S. Space Agency has announced it's launching an independent study into what it calls unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, which is basically a fancy new word for UFO. I would just say UFOs. The study, which will begin this autumn and cost, actually, not that much, aims to identify how much information is already out there and how much more is needed to understand the unexplained sightings in the sky. Thomas Zurbuchen says NASA believes that the tools of scientific discovery are powerful and apply here also. He says we have the tools and team who can help us improve our understanding of the unknown. That's the very definition of what science is. That's what we do. The agency argued that unidentified phenomena in the atmosphere are of interest for both national security and air safety, and aligns with another of its goals to ensure the safety of aircraft. Now, I will say this. Whether you believe in extraterrestrial or not, it's a thing. If you look up in the sky and you see a shining object, or you see an object kind of go really fast, there's a question of what is it? Now, if it has no sound to it, that's odd. Okay, every aircraft has sound. Even the stealth bomber has, like, it says stealth, but it's not stealth when it goes over you. People that were in Pasadena, I know we covered the Rose Parade of this year, 2022. We posted that as well. Some of you have seen it. it flew right over us, and it was loud when it flies right over you. Now, granted, you don't hear it from afar, but when it goes right over you, you kind of know it. So if you hear no noise out of a thing in the sky, that's called UFO, or as they're calling it, unidentified aerial phenomenon, right? But the question I have that I think people should have is this. Why are they here? Why are they like just roaming around? Why are they always around sites which usually go to war eventually, right? Or around disasters? There's some video circulating there. So I would say this, instead of just like back in the 50s and the 60s, you were crazy for thinking it because they would be like, oh, it was a weather balloon. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. So much discredit has happened that people that come out are usually like, I'm not weird, all right? And then you have some ones that are like Midwest, they're like, yeah, I saw a UFO. It basically ate my whole cow full, you know? Like, you're like, all right, that guy's obviously a loony. So you don't want to be a loony person, but when NASA says, hey, we're looking into this, A, they have the technology, B, they have the scope, and C, they're looking at the universe and they're starting to see certain things happen in our space. And when they see that happen, the question is what happens next. Now, I know you're very excited about the telescope, which I just saw, I think got impacted by a meteor, Jesse. The James Webb telescope.
Yeah, I actually heard about that a few days ago. Like a little microscopic or nanometeor, like dented or messed up one of the panels.
Ooh, not
so
good.
they're trying to figure out how to. They're adjusting so that it doesn't like mess up with the others. So hopefully they'll figure out a solution. But either way, they'll still be able to take some great pictures.
Yeah, and then there's like certain like doot, 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 coming from different parts of the sky known as space, and they're monitoring those with, you know, those big satellites that they have. They always like look to the air and they go, well, if there's certain things that repeat, that's not us, that's something else. So what is that, right? So I think the question really begs itself the answer of what is going to happen next in the few years coming up, right? But I would say this, for people that are of like origin of like, you know, well, I don't know, because, you know, it doesn't say that in the Holy Book. I would say this. It talks about angel. Angel is alien, if you think about it. And if you were able to interview an alien from another world, would they have faith of the unseen? I bet they would, Jesse. I just wonder what they would call, you know, God, or, you know, the universe, or like, what would they say? The galaxy, we've seen it already, you know? Or would they be like atheists? Like, dude, we're here. We have technology. You know, like, what would be their belief if you could communicate with them?
Right? That's a great question. Like, would they have their own religion, their own God? What would they worship?
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of neat. I mean, I would like to have that conversation, just so you know. This is what we believe. What do you believe? And there you go. All right. Anyway, have a good day. Make it a great day. I'm going to have a little bit more discussion on my Facebook feed. Follow me, Facebook, Aaron M. Sanchez. Also on Twitter, Aaron M. Sanchez. And also on LinkedIn, Aaron M. Sanchez. Also, stay tuned for more programming right here at KMT 1490 AM. Jesse, take it away. Now, for those still tuning in, I appreciate you. Yeah, pretty interesting information. Okay, let's go to some chats in social media. Ellie G over there, Ellie Gonzalez says, let's see, have a wonderful day. Stephanie Reed, let's see, it says, I'm a video editor. Video editing is hard work from working day and late night. I am hoping to expand to travel back and forth to California within video editing services. I will say this, Stephanie, you have the best job ever because you can do it anywhere. So I know you do it at home, and that's honestly my recommendation for any editor. Just stay home. You don't have to have a place that you do it at. If you see clients, even then you can like rent space. They have what's called Workspace here, or WeWork, which you can actually have a place for like $300, which is actually really, really affordable. So if you have a client base and you want to see them, they have like shared space, and a lot of those places have dried up so much. If you don't like get that space, then, you know, like, they'll all go down, which I think people should go to that space, get out of the big spaces, and then, you know, get to a nice space, because the WeWork ones are really nice. They have a conference room, and they just have a lot of cool stuff. You can get it for you know, a lot less than you normally could way back in the day. So if you have $300, invest in WeWork space, and then you're surrounded by other people that do, and then you're in a professional setting, and then you have that place to go to if you want to meet with people. But if you don't have that in your own area of Ohio, you have virtual, and you could be online with people virtually, right? And I say have a virtual way to meet with people. I Instagram all the time, I Facebook all the time, and they all have video services that you can just be like, hey, by the way, and then be like that, and then you can get to like what you want to do by seeing each other right there. I had a conversation about raising money for people and also local people, because I'm helping a business in Orange. But if you have a business that you want to promote, I can help you with that. But again, for people that are wanting to start businesses or keep their business running, I say do it, but do it responsibly and make use of technology that is, hey, let's meet really quick on a face call. All right, just do that, and then be professional. And then I'll give you an example. I had to do a radio interview on Saturday, but I connected really quick on Instagram on video chat, and then I kind of showed my mess, which is my desk, and I'm like, whatever. But be professional with it, right? Especially if you're, getting somebody that you're going to help financially. So just, clean up the area and then make sure it looks good, because my area is a little bit of a hot mess, but whatever. Okay, so but also remember, businesses can thrive during a down economy, which is what we're heading into financially. I have said that we've already been in a recession 2000, but it's starting to come full circle on certain news outlets, which are saying, yeah, we're seeing it, and now we're hitting a very bad dip in the next 3 months. And it's bad, people. I mean, I've been talking about it here on the show for some time, but I'm like, all right, good, at least you finally get it. With gas up, with financials up, with money down, with businesses closing, with COVID still looming, with pox around the corner, with vaccines going, what do we do next? It's going to be something where you're going to want to save money, period, end of story, all right? But if you're like Stephanie and you have a business which you could do virtually and then you turn it in digitally, you got the best thing since sliced bread. That's why I like writing book, because the book you could do all at home. That's where I did it. I don't have to go out and do it. I just do it all online. It's really easy. So if you want to do a book, let me know and I can help you out. Rosalie says, ooh, Anime Expo, yay. Yeah, I know. That's happening in July. Okay, so still wear a mask. Wear something that covers it up and make sure that you breathe right as well. All right. Recently I went to the Produced by conference. They had cool black masks. Then they had cloth masks. I like the cloth mask to be over like a regular mask. But yeah, if you wear a cloth mask, okay, it's like wearing a t-shirt, okay? It doesn't work for coronaviruses, all right, just so you know. But if you wear like a couple of those blue masks that you put on, like I would wear 2 of those and a cloth mask, and then you'll be good, all right? But make sure it seals over your nose, because the ones that go like that are like, really, you're wearing it for nothing. Like somebody sneezes in your vicinity, you're pretty much... Right, and then, oop, there you go. All right, so be careful with that. Let's see. Speaking of which, there's some news. I didn't bring it up yet because it's so new. And it's this. And this is in Europe, I believe. So I'm not sure how this is going to affect us here. But there's some new companies coming out which are going to hopefully get ahead of All right, they're not there yet. None of the vaccines that are currently out, other than I think Pfizer and Moderna, are good for OM1. Okay, but the ones coming will be good for OM1, 2, 3, and 4, maybe, but at least for the first 3. Okay, so here's the information as it says. French drug maker Sanofi said today or earlier on an upgraded version of the vaccine is developing with GSK, showing potential in 2 trials to protect against the main variants of concern, OM1 and 2, when used as a additional shot. Okay, while the 2 companies' first COVID shot is undergoing review by the European Medicines Agency, Sanofi and GSK, that's I think, is it GlaxoSmithKline, have continued to work on a vaccine that is molded on the now supplanted beta variant, hoping still that it will confer broad protection against future viral mutations. In other words, they're hoping it'll be ahead of the other variants coming out. And I will say this, because there's like a total of 6 different versions. That's on top of the alpha, the beta, which they just talked about, and the delta. And delta had a couple of variations of it called the Delta Plus. Okay, the Delta Plus was really bad. But these are all number systems, and they didn't get a lot of fanfare because kind of took over all of a sudden, right? And that's the one that kind of came out. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Delta came out in India. Came out later in the year in November of 2021. That's when we were like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And now it's a problem, right? Now that's where Pox is at. Pox is beginning to be a thing all over soon. And I will say this. If you look at the latest news, it doesn't look like a lot, okay? There's a very good documentary, and I saw it on Netflix recently, so it's still there. It's about pandemic, okay? And it's called Pandemic, okay? Go check it out. You'll understand how viruses get out and how they travel, okay? And then you'll have an appreciation for the World Health Organization and what they do. If you have time, and I know you do because there's not a lot of movies out, go watch it, okay? It's called Pandemic, okay? It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, you got it already. But here's a situation looming where over 100 confirmed cases in the U.S., but now the United Kingdom is reporting 104 more cases of monkeypox in the United Kingdom, right? Areas of Europe, right? So the question is this: what happens next? Okay, let me put it this way: when you have coronavirus, let's say you have a cold, right? Let's say you have a flu, and let's say you get, I don't know, chickenpox. Okay, what happens when you mix one of those with chickenpox? Does one negate the other? Let's say you have a cold and you get chickenpox. Do they form a new virus in the body? The answer is, well, I don't know. I mean, it's chickenpox. I mean, everybody gets chickenpox, right? At some point, usually when they're young. But monkeypox is not chickenpox, okay? Chickenpox is a mild form of pox, all right? That one you'll get ahead of, okay? Chickenpox is like, now, in later years, it can manifest really bad because even though it goes dormant, it stays in your body. Your body's able to fight it off, but it may kind of mutate long term. And then in your 50s or 60s, all of a sudden it comes out as another bad thing, shingles, right? I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Anyway, so that's really bad, okay? And that's the dormant version of chickenpox. Now, let's say you mix chickenpox with coronavirus, which happens to mutate again and again and again, right? You've got Lambda. You've got the one that happened in France. They haven't talked about it, but I think it's coming pretty soon. Right? What happens when you combine one or two of those viruses together and you have a cold? That's called a mutation. That's how viruses mutate. Now, when they mutate, they go from animal to human to animal to human to animal, and then they mutate again and again. But that usually happens over some time. Okay, it doesn't happen all of a sudden. Now, the monkeypox has been around, I think, since the 50s, right? Some would estimate the 30s, 40s, and 50s, but we really came more knowing of it in the 50s and 60s, and then they basically had a treatment, and then they had other treatments for other treatments, but long story short, it was basically isolated in Africa, right? In certain portions of the country. I looked at some really interesting news articles on that and people doing the research, and they're going, yeah, it's going to be a bad thing. Because here's the problem. We don't have what we need to be ahead of it yet. Now, will we in the next 8 to 12 months? I say yes, because now the companies are going to be like, oh, God, we got another one to work on. They're trying to get ahead of coronavirus, right? With all the variants popping up. Now they got to think pox. Okay, now, having said that, I saw another article, which was very smart, about smallpox. Now, smallpox is different than monkeypox, okay? But smallpox killed 300 million people within a certain amount of time. That's more than coronavirus combined. Now, will monkeypox kill people? Well, that depends. If it combines with somebody who has coronavirus and monkeypox at the same time, then that will mutate because coronavirus happens to accentuate. Yeah. Do you get the problem heading next couple of? Yeah. Here's the situation I say, or here's the problem. Don't be like those that say, oh, it's not a thing anymore. It's still here. We don't have the C word called cure. We don't have the cure for coronavirus. And because it's more airborne than not, okay, let's put it this way. If I sneeze all of a sudden, and I have will you get sick? Well, that depends. If you fought off alpha and beta, you may not get sick. But if I have Delta or 1, 2, or 3, you may get sick again. But because your body's already kind of, well, that depends if you got it, right? I've talked to so many people that have gotten like coronavirus where they say, "Oh, I survived." That's 1 or 2 times. You're gonna hear people getting sick 3 or 4 times in the next few months. Don't be one of them, okay? And if you are one of them, make sure to let someone know, okay? If you live alone, make sure to let somebody know that you have it. That way they can check on you daily, okay? I've had situations go from bad to worse, and I've talked about it here on the show, where thankfully people did live with other people, so they were able to check on them, but they honestly didn't make any sense in their mind. They actually got like no oxygen to the mind, so they started to hallucinate and start kind of becoming delirious and just didn't understand. But if that person were alone, guess what? Anywhere from 3 to 4, sometimes days and or weeks, they would all of a sudden be found dead for no reason at all, right? So make sure to let somebody know to check on you, all right? Because I've talked to so many people, they're like, no, I'm fine. Then all of a sudden next week they're dead, right? So I guess my point is this. Check in on the people that you know and love, especially in the next few weeks, because a lot of people are getting coronavirus all of a sudden, all right? And they're going out thinking they have a cold because coronavirus, at least I think it's sometimes 1 or 2 can mask as a cold, but it's not a cold. And some of those tests are coming back as what they call, back in the day, a false negative, meaning you have it, but the test didn't pick it up because either A, you tested too soon or you tested too early, or you didn't test again and again and again. Usually within 3 to 4 days of big symptoms, you're going to register coronavirus, right? That's why I say go with a trusted professional, like one of those testing sites, because they have kind of the big dogs of science, if they do it right? Because there's some that got found out that not doing it right. So my point is this, just be ahead of it and know that we're not out of the woods, and that in certain areas, especially metropolitan areas or places where they meet a lot of people all at once, right? And I'm not going to lie, like the LA Comic-Con, right? I'm still going to do the right thing, wear my face mask, and then be safe, right? But if it gets really bad, I may say, no, I'm not going to go this time, right? It just depends on certain factors. But hospitalizations are up. Deaths are going to go up in the next several weeks because it is a long haul one, all right? You may be fine in the next couple of weeks if you get it, but 3 to 4 weeks is when it all of a sudden amplifies in a really bad way. And I know because I talked to some professionals, they said, yeah, we're not ahead of this. We don't know what to do. I said, yeah, well then, start educating people to, and I hate the M word because people almost, they hear it and they say, so I say this, yeah, I'll use that word. Why not? Learn to protect your face. Okay, that's it. Just protect your face, all right? I don't know how to say that any other way. Protect your face. If somebody sneezes around you and or, a huge big wad of spit comes your way with inside, you want to kind of, not have it get into your breathing space. Okay, that's why I say cloth doesn't work. All right, like this is a tissue. This... I don't know if this is a bad tissue. All right, let me get another tissue. I'm going to use that tissue. This is basically what you guys are wearing, but this is tissue. It doesn't filter like an N95 does. Does that make sense? There's a whole different thing going on here. And I remember when people were making their own, and they were putting little filters inside the cloth mask. Those were actually better than that, which is Kleenex. I can wipe my nose and some of them have antibacterial stuff, which isn't bad. They should combine that. Oh, you know what? That's what they should do. On the inside, they should put Kleenex. That way, this part doesn't, affect you. Oh, actually, that makes sense. Why don't they do that? That's interesting. Or is this part of the filter thing? Or maybe they could put another layer, which is, soft. Yeah. Kleenex invention. There it is. Yeah. Do that. Anyway, my point is this. That's really the reason people aren't wearing these long term, because A, they're working out while wearing them and they're being mandated to do that. And nobody likes the M word. Everybody calls control. I don't like control. I go, do you run the red light then? I mean, what happens when you run a red light? You get ticketed, right? Nobody wants to pay a ticket, but if you run a red light, I hope you get ticketed, because what if I went and you went at the wrong time? That's called, you get it? We have laws and mandated laws to keep us safe. If there were no traffic signals, what would you do next? There was a time when there were no traffic signals. There was just red and green. There wasn't even yellow, giving you time to stop. It was boop, boop. And we go so fast, you need that little warning system. And that's when people speed up, right? So that's why I say look both ways before you go, right? I've seen a lot of people speed and hit other people and then run off because they don't have insurance because they didn't pay their bill, right? And those are the same people that go drink a lot of alcohol, go party, yeah, man, and cheat on their wives and beat up their But I guess my point is this: just be careful through it all, okay? And then you'll be fine. All right, so just do that. Let's go back to social media chat room and see how Genius says. Good morning, ladies. I had a visit of the CEO. Friends had a blast. Showed the interview of. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. She's talking about those that are. Well, I'll let you kind of because I know not everyone is. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, Stephanie says there is a book called What Went in the Trump White House by Stephanie Grisham. No relation. The author worked as a communication director for the Trumps, but for Melania Trump. Oh, that's good. I will say this. If you want to see a good, I should say movie, not documentary, because people kind of turn off when I say documentary, huh? A good movie. Go watch Dirty Money. Okay, really good. I mean, you would say, huh, and then huh, and then huh. Watch the episode about landlords, slum landlords. Yeah, watch that. That's a good telling one. Then you understand what I'm saying. I like this song. Genius says that was messed up. People need to stop assuming stuff. Get the facts in life. Yeah, exactly. Says we just need to be conscious and perceive the danger. I like that. Perceive what danger is around the corner, and then, well, you got to kind of, I don't know how to say it. Sometimes people perceive danger and they don't know what they perceive. You know what I mean? Some call it a sixth sense. I call it just knowing, right? Just knowing. There you go. Oh God, Jovita says. Jovita Diaz says a T-bone accident is imminent. Aaron, what do you mean? Oh, the way they drive. Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot, actually. There are more accidents up. A lot, by the way. It's really bad. Some news, actually, that I was looking at as well is interesting because it's actually, let me see if I can pull it up here. Where is it at? There's a lot of numbers up, and it's odd. It's like, why are all the numbers up? Now, I know that before 2020, it was kind of normal, right? After 2020, it's not normal. It's like we entered a weird stage of something and people are just trying to figure it out, right? And then others are just kind of like, you know what, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to party. And I say this, party responsibly, party with people you can trust, and party with people that won't get sick at the end of the day, because you're going to have that, right? I don't know where it's at. It was something important. I just can't remember what it was. Anyway, so be careful out there is my point. And then make sure to take care of yourself. Make sure to take care of your family. And make sure to take care of those that you love. And then you'll be fine, all right? But you're going to see a lot of information all... Well, let's put it this way. The reason I like movies that talk about stuff that are real and true are, yes, although sometimes they're slanted, I will say, have a mind to say, why does this make sense, right? Because usually documentarians sometimes skew a little truth, but they can't skew all truth when you put several movies into your head, all right? And watch Pandemic, very good film. Watch The Great Hack. I watched it in 2020. That's why I'm like, I'm pretty sure all this stuff's going to add up. That's why I stay on logic, okay? That's why I've had to bury some friends of coronavirus. Okay, I never said it was fake and or false and or control. Right? I never said that. I've kept my mom safe, thank goodness, up till now. Don't know about the next few months, but you know, she's stayed home and she's been safe for doing so. We go out still, like today we gotta go to the DMV. Pray for us, because we gotta wait in line, right? And their online system was really weird. And at one time, they didn't actually. It was weird. They were not allowing driving tests at Pasadena. I was like, why are they not doing that? It's weird. So we had to go somewhere else. I said, no, just wait. And so now we gotta get her ID card because her ID is expired, right? So we gotta get that so you know she can prove who she is. Although it's odd. I mean, it's like, hello, that's who you are. But so we gotta do that. And there are ways to do it online, but the online system is weird. Like, it's only business hours, and this is just, so I said, you know what, let's just go. We're going to wait in line. I'll wait in line for you, so you don't have to stand up, and then you stay safe with your, in the vehicle, and then I'll call you when, we're like close to the front. But having said that, just know that you got to be careful through it all. Okay, if you have to do stuff on the outside. I know some people like are immunocompromised. Okay, my mom is diabetic, so that's a number one red flag, right? If she gets any one of them, she could be in the hospital within 3 days, right? I don't want her to get right? So I'll make sure to keep her safe through it all. But sometimes you feel something, and you're like, you know what? No. And then go with that. Okay, that's a hunch for some people. Some people call it instinct. Like animals have instinct, right? They know when to flee, right? And you don't have to tell them go. They know when a fire is looming, right? They know when humans are around. They kind of are skittish, right? They just know. You don't have to tell them. Unless the mom tells them, run away from that human. They're gonna attack. And then little Bambi mother's dead, and little Bambi have to survive, and just You get what I'm saying? So be careful out there. Use what is given to you. Some call it God-given, and I call it, it's a blessing, to know when you're in danger, right? Or if you smell fire looming. So basically know the viruses are like the fire looming around the corner, kind of like Jesse's situation, which again, he should post that video. He sent me a video of the fire. But anyway, so that's why he wasn't able to go with me to Produce by Conference. Now, was I upset? Well, let's put it this way. I had made arrangements for him and a friend to go, but they didn't go. But I'm like, all right, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad he's safe, right? Should he still have woken up early? Yeah, because it's business, right? But whatever. My point is this. At least he's not in danger. At least his family's not in danger. And at least people will repair, right? If you have a fire known as coronavirus, it can affect the whole family, right? Now, if he were sick with coronavirus, I'd be like, stay home. Don't come. Now, having said that, they had certain protocols in place, but they didn't make sense. It was dumb. They had a questionnaire, which you could basically fool. It was like, are you feeling sick? If you check yes, then don't come, right? Or don't go. That's at Fox Studios. So I'm like, all right. And then they didn't even check it. I went through the questionnaire. I was ready to show the security guard, and they didn't even check it. I'm like, all right. But they did check the vaccination card, right? So I took my vaccination card. But they said you had, at least online, they said you had to have the first two. And I'm like, all right, I got the most recent one, so whatever. But there's no consistency is what I'm seeing. And so what I would like at least is this. Make sure to stay ahead of it within the next 3 months. If there is, and there is a couple of news articles about the latest Pfizer one becoming available for kids under 5. But my question is, we got the people over 50. What happened to the people in the middle, right? Where's the news about that? Can we get it? I don't know. Because that's the most recent one, right? And then there's one coming probably for, the next 4 or 5 months, the fall edition, right? I would say definitely get that one because you want to be ahead of November, December, and January when, everybody's going to sick, right? Because everybody parties and then meets up with family and stuff like that. But, Anyway, that's my point. I'm sticking to it. So here's what I'm going to say before we go. Always be careful. Always stay alert. And always stay aware of things happening, okay? Because there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody, oddly enough, about transportation and logistics and how you get from one place to another, because they move a lot of stuff like if you think Super Bowl or NFL or big sports stuff, she's in charge of the crew that go to each one of these to cover these things, right? So they have to deal with the vans and the rentals of things and get from one place to another place in order to cover a whole event, right? And then to broadcast it on your favorite station, right? But she was talking about how difficult it is right now with certain areas of port. And she said, yeah, it's really bad. Because I said, yeah, do people know that China's still in lockdown? I mean, it's way too long to be in lockdown, in my opinion. But they've been over at least a month and a half. That's bad, all right? So I say this, go get your electronics now, because guess what? In the next 3 to 4 months, you're not going to have electronics, all right? They're going to be sold out because a lot of them are produced in China. There you go. So if you know Beijing is still in lockdown, guess what? Yeah, your electronics, get them now while they're still low in price, okay? I went to a Best Buy recently because I was looking for a... something for my phone. Do you guys know where to get that? Probably it's Amazon. I've been noticing that. But I want one of those things where I can put it here because I record audio a lot. So I just want it kind of like a strap. Some of them have it like mainly ladies. I've seen some guys do it, and they have it. And it goes on your shoulder, and it's kind of like your listening device. But I want one that kind of goes here, like on your chest. I don't know. I got to figure that out. But anyway, because I record a lot of stories on my stuff, so I got a book coming out on business. That'll be coming out about 3 weeks. Is I think I've been kind of set back with this whole conference. But my point is this: be careful with whatever you do, okay? And then stay safe. Listen to news, but don't listen to skewed news, okay? Listen to news that makes sense. We're in 2022. The pandemic is real. And if you meet a friend that says it's not real, they probably haven't buried anybody with coronavirus, okay? The only time I find people find it real is when I say, well, I know because my sister had it, right? But she got all right with it. She got it in February of 2020, all right, before it really became a thing, right? Of is it not? Is it not? Now, even Trump, as much as he was like, at the beginning, he roundabout faced and then said, no, it's a thing. Then he said he didn't want people to panic, so he kind of let certain things loosen. That's why it was like back and forth. If you remember, January, March, April. Let's see, January, March, April. Yeah, March, April, and May, he was back and forth, right? Because he wanted to be ahead of Easter. Remember that? But it was like, one moment he was like, yes, and then the next moment he wasn't, and then the next moment he was, and then the next moment he wasn't. And then he was like, oh, this particular drug works really good. Hydro, whatever that was called. But now you're seeing people go, that didn't work for me, right? And some people actually died with that. And some of the hospitals actually took that and gave it, but it was, I don't know. We'll find information about that. For some people, it probably did work, and for others, it did not. Some people are good against alpha and beta, but they're not good against delta and the other ones remaining, right? So be aware of it and be ahead of it, okay? And if you have to go to the doctor, I would say do it safely. And if they have a telemedicine route for you in order to get your prescription and or your drugs, do that. All right, just ask them, do you have a telemedicine route? Now, if you have to go in person and get like a blood test, do it safely. Sometimes they do it outside. And then make sure, again, get a because you don't want if somebody has the flu, right? Same thing, all right? But this is times 10. All right, so remember that. Okay, people, let's see. Other than that, let's see. Social media chat room, thank you for tuning in. Jovita, thank you for tuning in. Algenia, thank you for tuning in. Stephanie Reed, thank you for tuning in. Rosalie, thank you. Ellie, thank you. And on Twitter, let's see, we've got, let me switch here. Oh, we got Larry, we got Julia, we got Julie, oh, thank you. And we got, who was that? Oh, Edward. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for staying safe through it all. All right, people, we're out of time. Make it a great day. Whatever you do, remember life is worth living. Live it well and live it responsibly. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.